Hi everyone, I'm Mike, and I'm going to be doing my first unboxing on YouTube. What I did, ordered Storm King's Thunder miniature set from Dungeons & Dragons, and I want you to watch me open it and open it with me. Get out my trusty car key box cutter, which is just a car key. I ordered this from the miniatures market. I paid $3.25. This is the full case, 4 bricks. Alright, so the box is the right size for 4 bricks. As you can see, it's quite a substantial number of miniatures, a lot of boxes here. I think everyone knows at this time, probably bought some already, but there are 4 miniatures per box, 1 large, and then 3 smaller. There's a breakout of rare, very rare, down to common, uncommon. I actually don't know all the varieties. There are some people who've done analyses of that, and there's probably someone who's actually done the math on how many boxes you would have to theoretically buy to get the entire set. But I have bought bricks before, mostly Rage of the Demons. I have 2 bricks. And I got a pretty good mix from that, and I've been happy, so I went ahead and decided that as this came out, I was going to go ahead and give it a shot, get a whole case, and hopefully get at least one of everything. Alright, well, that's what 1 brick looks like when it's out of the packaging. Let's go ahead and start. If you're not familiar with Dungeons & Dragons miniatures, they do come pre-painted. They're very well packaged, and even though they're a very pliable plastic, they're well packaged to protect them. So, I'm not sure which character this is off the top, so I should be getting roughly 1 large, like I said, in every box. And this is going to appear to be some type of cloud or storm giant. When I get it out of here, I can show it to you better. So, that is a very large giant. They didn't cut any corners there. You can tell this one does not have a hand, but it's here with the weapon, which appears to be a scythe-shaped longsword. I'm sure there's an expert out there that can tell me exactly what type of sword that is, the blade itself by shape. So, my initial impression is, I like this miniature. I like the paint job. It looks like they got everything. I don't see a lot of bleed over between the different parts. When you break this out, I paid $2.53 a miniature. So when you see a size of a giant like that, you have to be impressed. And that's also why I bought a whole brick. Alright, the next appears to be a human thug. He's not an overly large miniature, not like the giant, obviously. Give you an idea of the scale comparatively. That is a good full-size 28mm miniature, so again, these giants are quite large. So far I'm having a lot of fun with this. I think this is an exciting pack. I wish I could open them all at once. Alright, so for those of you who haven't purchased any Dungeons & Dragons miniatures in the past, they do have invisible characters. These are clear plastic, and it's going to be very difficult for you to see. These are oftentimes rare. This one appears to be a mage. It's very, very difficult to see that as it's made of clear plastic. These are oftentimes rare or even very rare. If that's a specific special character, then that's probably a very rare, and I got lucky early. Let's hope my luck continues to hold. Okay. So this is a Kenku Archer, another smaller one. I like any time I get what I consider to be rank and file and not too many specialized miniatures. As much as I loved Rage of Demons, I did end up with 4 dwarven wizards, which is a little too much for dwarves. So I'd rather have rank and file goblins, kobolds, than too many specialized characters. course, if I didn't get one, if I had missed out entirely on Dwarven Wizards, I probably would have been disappointed as well. So, can't please everyone all the time, right? Alright, so this next one, and we all start with the large, right? Because it's always the most exciting. Appears to be, I believe it's going to be a winter wolf. And that, as well, is not as big as a giant, but to keep it in perspective, well, let me go with the thug because he's nice, even human size, 28mm. That's a good sized winter wolf. Now, as it's pre-painted, you always want to make sure that you got a good paint job. And if you get really close there, and even look at the eye, there's no bleed on that eye. That is a well done miniature. I can't paint that well, so to me, it's worth what I paid just to get it painted for me. Alright, moving along to the rest of the contents of this box. Again, you can see they do a really good job, very thorough wrapping everything. So this is a 3-keen. It's the one right off the side of the box, so it comes with a picture of it. So if you go to the store and you see the 3-keen, that is a pretty good miniature as well. I'm going to say so far I've been very happy. That's something that no other miniature like that is made by any other company. You can't find a substitute product. Alright, so another Kenku, but I'm not going to complain because instead of an archer, this one is armed with a short sword. So that's good. I like that they have some alternate weapon options. I don't want to get all of the same thing. Like I said, I do like some rank and file miniatures, but I don't want them to all be archers because not everyone's supposed to be an elf. Alright, now this is very obviously a hellhound. Let me get that in close for you so you can see the paint job. It almost looks like it has gills with flames coming through. That is very nicely painted. If you look at the paint job on that, the lines are very clear. It's another nice miniature. So far I'm very content. And you're going to have to stick with me a while for this video because at this pace, it's going to take a long time to get through 32 boxes of miniatures. Alright, now here's what I've been really hoping to see. I just picked one of these up by another company. I was very happy with their Cloud Giant, or I'm sorry, Stone Giant. But that one didn't come painted and it cost me $10. This one, by the time you break it all out, like I said, costs marginally over $2.53 each. So there's your standard Stone Giant. Nice dynamic pose. Also fits the background that they have for Dungeons and Dragons. I like that. Okay. Well, this they should have had for Age of Demons. That is going to be a mantle for the nice underground adventures. Drops from the ceiling, covers the characters' heads, and then gets free crushing damage every round thereafter. You know, and actually let me bring that back up again. I would like to point out, get a good look at that paint job. You can see the yellow eyes, you can see the gray on the underside of the tentacles. That's another nice miniature. And they also captured the fact that it's supposed to look like a stalagmite, should be pointing down until it lands. They captured that. It does have a stony appearance, rock-like. Another well done miniature. Alright, so I'm not sure. This is probably a special character. For those of you who have read through the story, maybe you know. Looks like she has some type of grappling hook. This is Helena Nostrum. Not sure who that is. You have to go through the characters in the book if you've gotten the book, and maybe you can tell me. So far I haven't been disappointed with any of these. And okay, we have an archer, and this is going to be along the lines of the Serpent Folk. I think that one technically is a Serpent Folk half-breed, which off the top of my head is what I think it is. You can see she's got the slightly yellowed skin like a snake person. And I'm going to try to see. Yeah, the eyes are a little small there. It's a little hard to try to get the detail of that. I was looking to see if she had slits for eyes for a snake-like appearance. But without my glasses on, I'm nearsighted and I still can't quite see. Have to get a magnifying glass to give you the details of that one, as far as the eyes go. All right, so each time I open one of these, I have to say I get more and more excited. I don't have too many, hopefully within the same brick. It's rare to get too many duplicates, especially of the large monsters. This is a frost giant. That is a good looking frost giant. Get you another angle there. Now, I'd like to point out also with plastics, these are so well packaged. You see the sword is straight, you see the horns on the head are not bent, they're nice and symmetric. Good dynamic pose, already secured to the base. Very easy to just take right out of the box and start to play. I've always been a big collector of Games Workshop, and then a couple years ago I left that game company due to dissatisfaction with their pricing. Alright, so more of the serpent folk. Obviously they're going to end up, well hopefully they're playing some type of role in the Now this one I'm going to say looks a little awkward, and let me show you why. If you look at him on his base, he is at an angle. So I don't know if the pose is supposed to be dynamic as if that arm is up and he's swinging, but this may be one that I'm going to want to re-glue. And as I look at his base, I think that one, while the detail and the paint job and everything is nice in this miniature, that one may require work, and that'll be the first time I've had to do any real work on one of the Dungeons and Dragons miniatures. And that would be to straighten him up on his base. Alright, so here's my first duplicate. Now we already opened one of the 3 keen, so I started to say duplicate, well I did say duplicate, but that's a little bit wrong. You see it has a different weapon option. So while it's a very similar miniature, again, anytime I get rank and file, I'm not dissatisfied, especially if I get a little variety in the pose. Okay, and lastly, out of this box, this is Crag Ungart. So it's a dwarf character, it's a special character. Okay. Now when I look at the face, I do see there's a black line through the middle. The character, if you can get really close into that face, I don't know if I'm going to have a complaint about that or not, because if when I read the background I find out that the character itself has a scarred face, then it's a good paint job. If I don't get that out of the background, then it's going to look like they missed a little bit on that paint job. Alright, again, like I said in the past, and not to be too repetitive, every time I open one of these I always jump right to the large monster, because that's always the most exciting. That's the centerpiece of each box. And in this case, looks like we have a very nice fire giant. You can see it's very good size, and hold on one second, let me get that out of the way. When I do this, so try to get the full effect. And I like that they did this. You know, it may require a little bit of gluing, but in doing so they protected the sword from becoming bent. And they were able to keep that detail on there. So he's got a nice clear plastic flame coming out the side. There's the back. You can tell that's a very good giant. Just to get a little perspective, a frost giant, a fire giant should be a little bit different in size. There's a nice comparison. I like the details on the armor, and again, get a look at that face. I think they've done a good job with their paint. I'm not sure what technique they use, but these are some good looking miniatures. Very happy with the detail, very happy with the quality. There was a time when I wouldn't collect plastic miniatures because I felt like they were just passing toys off on me. Now the quality is really there. So. Now this one's going to be very small and very difficult to see. Looks to be a devourer. your brain on feet, walking around chasing characters, trying to jump into their body. Not sure if that's one of my favorite concepts in gaming, but any encounter, if it's handled well by a Dungeon Master, can be interesting. Alright, so very nice looking archer with... Now I'm looking at the size of that bow. I'm going to guess there's some type of special rule for this character as far as attacking giants, because that's nearly a giant sized bow. You see there's a giant sized quiver on the back. Go back to the front, let me tell you real quick. The name on this is Kazi Alphalandra. So that is a special character, and I'm sure there are special rules. Alright, now off the top of my head, I can't remember what type of humanoid that is. I know I've seen it in the monster manual. So I can only comment on the quality of the miniature itself. And I do like it. I always like the dynamics of two weapons. I almost feel like Dungeons and Dragons invented that in a way with Drizzt, and what a popular character he obviously was in his dueling scimitars. Okay, we still have 3 boxes to go out of just the first brick alone. I'm going to break my rule this time and not jump just to the large character. Alright, a giant toad. A nice generic monster that I think every Dungeon Master could use to have set off to the side. Not sure if it's going to have a special role in this adventure somewhere. Alright, and I've forgotten the name of the flaming dwarves, but you can see, again, I always really like what they do with the clear plastic, and in this case the way they worked it into flames. You see the flames on the hammer, flames on the back of the head. Again, straight out of the imagery created in the monster manual. There's the back. Alright. Alright, this is going to be a hard one to see. It's either a fairy or a pixie. Off the top of my head, I sometimes forget which one's which. It's nice detail for such a small miniature. You see it's already mounted on the flying base. Again, something that all gamers like is not have to base it themselves. So good detail, good colors. I like their use of the clear plastics, in this case for the wings. It's a nice miniature. It's also one that not too many people are going to have, and I haven't seen it made by any other company. Except maybe Pixie Hollow by Disney that my daughter loves so much. Alright, so now we're going to get down to the giant. This one is going to be a special character. This one is Imrith. Now, that is an exciting dynamic giant. You can see the lightning bolts dancing around her. The only thing I will say is, as a special character, as much as I like this miniature, I hope not to get it again within this set. Alright, here's another one. When I do get duplicates at some point, which I'm sure my luck will run out eventually, this is one I'd be happy to get a second of. Now, I haven't finished getting into the book, but I have gotten started enough to know you're going to need multiple hill giants. And what do hill giants do? They plunder and loot. And so they've done a good job of giving them a very full backpack. Obviously oversized, a little bit of a comical effect, but the point is that hill giants are dumb and they would encumber themselves in this manner. So if I'm going to get duplicates, a lesser giant like a hill giant that my character is going to be likely to fight multiples of, that's what I would be looking for. Alright, let's see what else we got in here. Alright, well, one of the uglier demons, even R.A. Salvatore, I believe, described this as the melted candle of the demon world. This would be a yokel. Again, might have fit into the Rage of the Demons, being against the Dark Elves there. That's where I would more have expected to run into one. Again, that wasn't a complaint, calling it the melted candle of the demon world, because what I'm looking for is a miniature that captures what they're supposed to look like. Alright, so I got another fairy, or pixie, but this one is slightly different than the last. Whereas one has what looks like, this one has a bow and this one has a sword, and a slightly different pose. So again, I don't have any complaints about getting two of the same race, and pixies don't exactly travel alone. So I'm happy with that. I like that. I think they both have the same strengths as miniatures, and as small as they are, if you can see from some different angles, they have a nice paint job. It had to be difficult to automate. Overall, I have to say the quality of these miniatures is very high. Okay, so now I've already opened one of these. Get back to him. So this will be my first duplicate. I'm not going to go into it too much. Now I know as they're humanoids, I'm not going to have any problems using multiples of these. It's not like when I get to the giants. If I have too many cloud giants or storm giants, of course, you're not going to need that many. Alright, now, I don't know why, but sometimes when you go through the monster manual and you see monsters that kind of capture your imagination or grab your interest right away, for me, one of those has always been the Fomorian. If you remember, you read the background of the Fomorians. They were once beautiful, but they were narcissistic and evil, and so they were turned ugly. And now they can also turn your characters ugly. Hopefully not as ugly as this one, but I was hoping to get some good Fomorian miniatures. And again, this is another one that if I do open the duplicate of, I won't have any complaints. Also, being a softer plastic, if I really wanted to, which I would want to, but I'm usually not too good at, you could easily clip off that club and turn this into a different weapon. Now we're down to the last three small miniatures from the first brick. Alright, and this one is going to be a scarecrow. I believe. If you can get a good look at that. It's good detail. I've never had a scarecrow made by any other company. I've never fought one. And as I look at it, I don't think the hair at the top quite looks like straw. I'm sure that was very hard to sculpt. That I know it's a scarecrow is more out of having looked through the monster manual necessarily than this specific miniature. And I just think this one is okay out of what's otherwise been a spectacular set. Okay, at some point I'm going to have to grab the monster manual. You see we've already got duplicates of this one. This one is obviously some type of mage. You can see his right hand. He's created a flame, prepared to throw it. So that's actually quite nice. I like the miniature. I don't mind having duplicates of the rank and file, and I like that I have one who's going to represent the leader in some manner. Alright, and so this is the last one out of this brick. And we got a duplicate of our Kazi Alphalandra, who I think is going to turn out to be some type of giant hunter with that giant bow. So we've already gone over this miniature, and didn't really need duplicates of what is most likely a special character, but it's also possible that once we get into the storyline, we see that she's one of many like her who are hunting giants.